The dinner rush at Bella's diner had finally subsided, leaving Anna Zimmerman to clean tables with an aching back and blistered feet. The small, family-owned establishment sat on the edge of Ravenwood, a town where centuries-old mansions loomed over modest homes like watchful guardians. Anna wiped her brow, calculating how much of tonight's tips would go toward her grandmother's medication and how much toward next semester's tuition. Just a few more years, she whispered to herself, a mantra that had carried her through double shifts and midnight study sessions. Her dream of becoming a doctor seemed to recede with each passing month, but she refused to surrender to doubt. The pendant at her throat, a family heirloom of twisted silver encasing a blood-red stone, warmed against her skin as it always did when her determination faltered. The bell above the door chimed, and Anna suppressed a groan. 10 minutes until closing. I am sorry, but we are not serving anymore. The words died on her lips. The man who entered seemed to bring the night with him. Tall and lean, with raven hair that fell to his shoulders, he moved with the silent grace of a predator. His clothes, expensive but worn, hung from a frame that appeared almost painfully thin. But it was his eyes that froze Anna in place. Deep-set and midnight blue, they carried the weight of endless winters. Please, he said, his voice a rasp. I require sustenance. Something about his formal speech pattern and the desperate hollowness in his gaze stirred Anna's compassion. Against the warnings blaring in her mind, she gestured to a corner booth. The kitchen is closed, but I have my lunch in the back. I have not eaten it yet. You can have it if you would like. The stranger's gaze intensified. You would give your meal to a stranger? Anna shrugged, the pendant growing warmer. You look like you need it more than I do. In the break room, she retrieved her container of homemade stew, her grandmother's recipe, rich with vegetables and herbs from their tiny garden. Her stomach protested as she carried it out, but the thought of her grandmother's approval silenced its complaints. The stranger watched her approach with unsettling focus. When she placed the container before him, his nostrils flared, and a tremor passed through his body. This is your food? He asked, something like wonder in his voice. It is just stew. Nothing special. Anna shifted uncomfortably under his gaze. I need to finish cleaning. Take your time. As she wiped down the counter, she glanced over occasionally. The man ate with measured, deliberate movements, as though each bite required concentration. When he finished, he sat motionless, eyes closed, fingers tracing the rim of the empty container. Anna approached to clear it away. Better. His eyes opened and she gasped. The midnight blue had lightened to sapphire, and color had returned to his previously pallid face. You have no comprehension of what you have done, he said softly. Fear flickered through her. I gave you food. That is all. No. He stood, towering over her. You offered sustenance freely, with compassion rather than obligation. In 5 centuries, I have not encountered such genuineness. Anna stepped back. 5? What are you talking about? The stranger's gaze fell to the pendant at her throat, and he went rigid. With trembling fingers, he reached toward it but stopped before making contact. The bloodstone of Katerina, he whispered. I thought it lost centuries ago. How did you come by this? Anna clutched the pendant protectively. It has been in my family for generations. My grandmother gave it to me. A look of reverence transformed his features. What is your name? Against her better judgment, she answered. Anna. Anna Zimmerman. Anna. He spoke her name as though tasting it. I am Drakon Volkov, and you have awoken something that has slumbered for centuries. The lights in the diner flickered. Outside, clouds obscured the moon, plunging the street into darkness. I must go, Drakon said, urgency in his tone. But we will meet again, Anna Zimmerman. Destiny has been set in motion. Before she could respond, he was gone, leaving only the empty container and a crisp $100 bill on the table. Anna locked the diner door with shaking hands, telling herself she had encountered nothing more than an eccentric, hungry man with a flair for dramatics. But as she walked home through the silent streets, she could not shake the sensation of being watched, protected. The dreams began that night. Blood and roses, moonlit ballrooms, a castle perched on a mountain of bones, and always those sapphire eyes, searching for something lost. 3 nights later, Anna was walking home from her late shift when the sound of footsteps echoed behind her. Before she could turn, rough hands grabbed her, dragging her into an alley. "Give me your money," a voice growled as she was shoved against a wall. Fear paralyzed her for only a moment before instinct took over. She kicked and clawed, her grandmother's voice in her head. "Fight, Anna. Our women have always been fighters." The attacker cursed, his grip tightening painfully. Anna's pendant burned against her skin, scorching hot. A whisper of movement, then her attacker was gone, lifted and thrown like a rag doll. Through tears of terror and pain, Anna saw Drakon holding the man by the throat, feet dangling above the ground. "You dare touch what is mine?" Drakon's voice had changed, becoming a multi-layered growl that seemed to emanate from the shadows themselves. The mugger choked, face purpling. "Please, I did not know." "She was claimed." "She is not claimed," Drakon hissed. "She is sacred." Anna watched in horror as Drakon's eyes darkened to bottomless pits. When he smiled, she glimpsed fangs, actual fangs, extending over his lower lip. "Drakon, stop!" she cried out. He froze at the sound of her voice, turning slowly to face her. The inhuman rage in his expression softened. "Anna," he breathed, and dropped the attacker, who scrambled away with terrified whimpers. Drakon approached her cautiously, like one might a frightened animal. "You are hurt." Anna pressed herself against the wall. "What are you?" A shadow passed over his face. "You know the answer, though you fear to name it." "Vampire?" she whispered, the word hanging between them like a death sentence. He inclined his head. "Yes." Anna's mind raced through a lifetime of folklore and fiction, separating myth from the terrifying reality before her. "The stew. You did not really need food." "I was starving," he corrected. "But not for what mortals consider nourishment." A thought struck her. "You could have attacked me in the diner, or anyone, but you did not." "I have not fed on an unwilling human in 3 centuries, he said, a flash of something like shame crossing his features. "I was weakened from travel, from searching. I stopped only to gather strength before continuing my journey." "Searching for what?" His gaze fell to her pendant. "For the bloodstone, for its keeper." The alley seemed to close in around Anna. "Why?" "There is a prophecy," Drakon said softly, "that the king of the Nightborn would find his salvation and his queen in one who bears the bloodstone and offers life freely, without knowledge of its power." Anna's knees weakened. "A queen? That is insane. I am just a waitress trying to get through nursing school." "You are the descendant of Katerina Zimarova, who saved my life during the burning times, who entrusted me with half her heart, this stone, before which hunters claimed her. I promised to find her bloodline again, to protect it." Anna's grandmother had spoken of an ancestor persecuted as a witch, but had never mentioned vampires or prophecies. "This is too much. I cannot." Drakon's expression softened. "I do not expect you to understand or accept this tonight, but the bond has already begun to form. Your offering of food, of life, to me awakened it. The pendant recognizes me, as it recognized you when you came of age." "Bond?" Anna touched the pendant, which had cooled once more. "What does that mean?" "It means you are in danger," Drakon said grimly. "There are those among my kind who have sought the bloodstone for centuries, who would destroy you to possess it. I had hoped to find you before they sensed its awakening." A cold wind swept through the alley, carrying with it the scent of impending rain. Drakon stiffened. "We cannot remain here. They are coming." "Who is coming?" Anna demanded. "The harvesters, vampire hunters who consider themselves righteous, but who seek the blood of ancients like me for its power." He extended his hand. "Come with me, Anna. I swear on the stone that I will not harm you." Anna stared at his outstretched hand, every rational thought screaming to run in the opposite direction. But something deeper, Something tied to the pendant and the dreams and the strange sense of recognition she felt when looking at him made her reach out. The moment their fingers touched, the pendant blazed with crimson light, and images flooded her mind. A castle on a cliff, a throne room bathed in moonlight, Drakon crowned in shadow, and herself, dressed in flowing white, the pendant at her throat glowing like a captured star. She gasped, pulling back. What was that? The beginning, Drakon answered, his eyes reflecting the pendant's glow. Will you come with me, Anna Zimmerman? Will you trust me enough to learn the truth of who you are? The sound of approaching vehicles broke the moment. Drakon's expression hardened. We have no time. Your answer, Anna. Now. Anna thought of her grandmother, of her small apartment, of the life she had planned so carefully. Then she thought of the dreams, the pendant's warmth, and the inexplicable sense that she had been waiting for something without knowing what it was. Yes, she said, surprising herself with the certainty in her voice. I will come with you. Drakon's smile was both beautiful and terrible. In one fluid motion, he swept her into his arms and leapt. Not upward as she expected, but seemingly through the very fabric of the night itself. Anna's world dissolved into darkness and wind and the thundering of her own heart. They emerged in a clearing surrounded by ancient oaks. At its center stood a Victorian mansion that seemed to grow from the earth itself, its Gothic spires piercing the night sky. Ivy crawled up stone walls, and gargoyles perched on the eaves, their sightless eyes following Anna and Drakon as they approached. Blackthorn Manor, Drakon said, setting Anna gently on her feet. One of my smaller residences, but secure for now. Smaller. Anna stared at the imposing structure. Where exactly are we? Still within Ravenwood's boundaries, but hidden by magic older than the town itself. He guided her toward ornate double doors that opened silently at their approach. Few know of this place, and fewer can find it without invitation. The interior took Anna's breath away. Candles illuminated soaring ceilings, marble floors, and walls lined with paintings and tapestries that spanned centuries. A grand staircase curved upward, its banister carved with scenes of hunt and revelry. It looks lived in, Anna observed, noting the absence of dust and decay. My servants maintain it. They are discreet. As if summoned by his words, a woman appeared, tall and elegant, with silver-streaked black hair and amber eyes that held no pupil. Master, she greeted Drakon with a bow. We felt the bloodstones awakening. The chambers are prepared. Thank you, Lilith. Drakon turned to Anna. This is Lilith, my seneschal. She is damper, half vampire, born of a union between my kind and humans. Anna nodded uncertainly to the woman, who studied her with unconcealed curiosity. So this is Katarina's descendant, Lilith murmured. The resemblance is remarkable. She turned to Drakon. The council seeks audience. They sensed the stone's power. Drakon's expression darkened. Tell them I will address them at midnight tomorrow. Now leave us. Lilith bowed again and vanished, not walking away, but simply ceasing to be before Anna's eyes. How did she? Dampier's possess abilities beyond mortal understanding, Drakon explained, leading Anna deeper into the mansion. Now you must have questions. Many of them, I imagine. Anna laughed shakily. That would be an understatement. They entered a library that reminded Anna of scenes from her dreams. Walls of ancient books, a roaring fire, chairs of burgundy leather worn soft by centuries of use. Begin with what troubles you most, Drakon suggested, gesturing for her to sit. Anna remained standing. You called yourself a king. King of what exactly? The Nightborn, the oldest and purest bloodline of vampires. We ruled the shadows while humans built their first cities. And this prophecy, about a queen? Drakon moved to a cabinet and withdrew a crystal decanter. Wine? It is quite old, even by my standards. I want answers, not alcohol. His lips quirked. 5 centuries, and Katarina's fire still burns in her descendants. He set down the decanter. The prophecy states that the Nightborn king would find his salvation and true queen in one who bears the bloodstone and offers life without knowledge of its worth. You gave me food, life-sustaining nourishment, without knowing who or what I was. But I am not royalty material, Anna protested. I grow herbs in pots on my fire escape and eat ramen noodles for dinner most nights. The prophecy speaks not of birthright, but of spirit, Drakon countered. Of compassion that sees beyond appearances. Of strength that flows in your bloodline since Katarina's time. Anna sank into a chair, suddenly exhausted. This is insane. Yesterday I was worried about rent and exam schedules. Now I am discussing vampire prophecies in a hidden mansion. Reality often seems insane when its boundaries expand, Drakon observed, taking the seat opposite her. But consider this. Have you not always felt different? Set apart from others, as though waiting for something you could not name. Anna's denial died on her lips. All her life, she had felt like she was rehearsing for something greater. A destiny that hovered just beyond her reach. The dreams, she said slowly. I have been having dreams of castles and ballrooms. Of you, though I did not recognize your face until now. Drakon leaned forward. The bloodstone connects us across time. It has been preparing you even before we met. For what? To become a vampire queen? To rule beside you over creatures of the night? No, he said softly. To decide the fate of two races. The prophecy continues. In her hands lies the power to unite or destroy, to heal the ancient divide or widen it beyond repair. Anna touched the pendant. What divide? Between vampire and human, between predator and prey. For millennia we have existed in shadow, feeding and hunting. Some, like me, have sought coexistence. Others desire dominion, believing humans exist merely to nourish us. And I am supposed to fix this how exactly? Drakon's expression grew solemn. The bloodstone contains powerful magic, blood magic tied to both races. It can bind or sever, heal or destroy. In the hands of one with Katarina's bloodline, it could reshape the relationship between our kinds forever. The fire popped and hissed, shadows dancing across Drakon's face, highlighting the inhuman perfection of his features. Anna studied him, seeing beyond the beauty to the isolation beneath. How long have you been alone? She asked suddenly. The question seemed to startle him. I have not been alone. I have my court, my subjects. That is not what I asked. Drakon's gaze dropped to the floor. 5 centuries. Since Katarina. You loved her, Anna realized. She saved me when I had given up hope. Showed me that monsters could feel more than hunger and rage. His voice roughened with emotion. When she died, I swore to find her again, or the closest thing to her that time would allow. Anna felt a strange ache in her chest. Sympathy for this ancient creature who had wandered through centuries, searching for a love long turned to dust. I am not her, she said gently. No, you are Anna, unique in your own right. Drakon met her gaze again. I do not seek to replace Katarina. I seek to fulfill my promise to her, to protect her bloodline and to use what she taught me to bridge the divide between our kinds. Before Anna could respond, the library doors burst open. Lilith stood there, her amber eyes wide. The harvesters, she gasped. They have tracked the bloodstone's energy. They come with weapons blessed by the blood of saints. Drakon was on his feet in an instant. How many? 12, perhaps more. Led by Gabriel Thorn. The name clearly meant something to Drakon, whose face transformed into a mask of cold fury. So the father sends his son to finish what he could not. You know them? Anna asked, rising as well. Thomas Thorn attempted to kill me 50 years ago, after I refused to turn his dying wife. He blamed me for her death, swore his bloodline would hunt mine until the last vampire was dust. Drakon turned to Lilith. Prepare the defenses. Alert the guard. Keep them from entering as long as possible. Lilith nodded and vanished once more. We must move quickly, Drakon told Anna, crossing to a bookshelf and pulling a leather-bound tome from among identical volumes. The shelf swung outward, revealing a hidden passage. This leads to the catacombs beneath the manor. You will be safe there while I deal with the harvesters. Anna stood her ground. No. Drakon stared at her in disbelief. No. If I am part of some prophecy, if this pendant is as powerful as you claim, then I am not hiding while others fight. These harvesters want me as much as they want you, do they not? They want the stone, Drakon corrected. They would kill you to possess it. Then I should help protect it. Outside, a high-pitched whine pierced the night, a sound that made Drakon wince in pain. Sonic weapons, he muttered. Designed to disorient vampires. He fixed Anna with an intense stare. You do not understand what you are volunteering for. These men are trained killers with generations of hatred driving them. And you are an ancient vampire king with supernatural powers, Anna countered. But if what you say is true, if I am meant to bridge the divide, then violence is not the answer. Let me speak with them. Drakon laughed bitterly. Harvesters do not speak. They hunt. Everyone can be reached, Anna insisted. My grandmother taught me that compassion opens doors that force cannot breach. Something shifted in Drakon's expression. A softening, a glimmer of hope quickly suppressed. Your optimism is admirable, but naive. These men view all vampires, as abominations to be exterminated. Then let me prove them wrong. Anna straightened her shoulders. Show them that vampires and humans can stand together. The sonic whine intensified. Through the windows, Anna glimpsed movement on the grounds. Dark figures advancing through the trees, bearing weapons that glinted in the moonlight. Drakon studied her face, conflict evident in his eyes. Finally, he nodded. Very well, but you will stay behind me at all times. And if I tell you to run, you run. Promise me. I promise, Anna agreed, heart hammering with both fear and determination. Drakon held out his hand. After only a moment's hesitation, Anna took it. The connection between them pulsed, the pendant warming against her skin. Together, they walked toward the manor's entrance to face those who would destroy them both. The entrance hall of Blackthorn Manor had transformed into a battleground. Damper guards clashed with black-clad harvesters, the air thick with the metallic scent of blood and the acrid burn of holy water. Weapons flashed, silver blades on one side, fangs and claws on the other. Anna faltered at the sight, but Drakon's hand on her waist steadied her. Stay close, he murmured. They descended the grand staircase, and the fighting seemed to pause as both sides noticed their arrival. The pendant at Anna's throat pulsed with ruby light, casting her face in a crimson glow. From among the harvesters, a man stepped forward, tall and broad-shouldered, with closely cropped blonde hair and eyes the color of Arctic ice. A jagged scar ran from his left temple to his jaw, and in his hands he held a crossbow loaded with what appeared to be a stake carved from bone. Drakon Volkov, the man called, his voice carrying the faintest hint of an accent. Still hiding behind your servants, I see. Gabriel Thorn, Drakon replied coolly. Still following your father's misguided crusade. Gabriel's gaze shifted to Anna, narrowing as he noticed the pendant. So the rumors are true. You have found the bloodstone and its keeper. Drakon moved slightly, positioning himself between Anna and Gabriel. This is not your concern, Harvester. Leave now, and I will spare your men. Gabriel laughed. My father warned me of your arrogance. His expression hardened. The stone belongs to humanity. It was stolen by your kind centuries ago. A weapon too dangerous for monsters to possess. It was a gift, Drakon corrected. Freely given by one who understood its true purpose. Lies, Gabriel spat, as expected from the deceiver king. He addressed Anna directly. Girl, if you surrender the stone willingly, I will ensure your safety. Continue to stand with this creature, and you share his fate. Before Drakon could respond, Anna stepped forward, maintaining her hold on his hand but moving to stand beside him rather than behind. My name is Anna Zimmerman, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. This pendant has been in my family for generations. It belongs to neither vampire nor harvester. Gabriel's expression betrayed surprise at her defiance. You do not understand the power you wear around your neck, Anna Zimmerman. That stone has caused centuries of bloodshed. Then perhaps it is time for the bloodshed to end, Anna replied. You call yourself harvesters, but what do you cultivate except more violence and hatred? We protect humanity from predators, Gabriel snapped. By becoming predators yourselves? Anna challenged. I have seen no evidence that Drakon wishes me harm. In fact, he saved my life tonight. Gabriel's lip curled. A ploy to gain your trust. Vampires are incapable of compassion or love. They mimic human emotion to manipulate and feed. Drakon tensed beside her, and Anna felt a tremor pass through him. Looking up, she saw pain flash across his features. Not physical, but the deeper wound of one who has heard the same lie so often that he has begun to believe it himself. In that moment, Anna understood what had driven Drakon through centuries of searching. Not just a prophecy or a promise, but the desperate hope that someone might see him as more than a monster. You are wrong, she said softly, squeezing Drakon's hand. And I can prove it. Before anyone could stop her, Anna released Drakon and walked forward, placing herself between the two groups. The pendant blazed brighter, its light spreading outward in pulsing waves. Anna, no! Drakon moved to pull her back, but an invisible barrier held him at bay, the stone's magic responding to her will. Anna addressed both sides, her voice growing stronger with each word. Look at us. Vampires, humans, dampiers, all ready to destroy each other over a stone that none of you truly understand. She lifted the pendant from her neck, holding it aloft. In the crimson glow, both harvesters and vampires looked more alike than different, all frozen in expressions of awe and fear. My grandmother taught me our family's true history, Anna continued. Katerina Zimarova was not a victim or a fool. She was a healer who saw worth in all beings. She divided her heart, half kept within her bloodline, half entrusted to one she believed could change the fate of two races. The stone pulsed in her palm, and images suddenly filled the air around them, projections of memories stored within the stone itself. A woman with Anna's features, dressed in the simple clothes of a medieval healer. A younger Drakon, wounded and hunted, collapsing at her door. Katerina tending him, speaking words of compassion as he recovered. The two growing closer despite the barriers between them. The final image showed Katerina creating the pendant, splitting a larger stone in two, keeping one half and giving Drakon the other. A pact sealed in blood freely given. The bloodstone was never a weapon, Anna said as the images faded. It was a promise that one day, our kinds could live in harmony, that love could overcome hatred and fear. Gabriel stared at her, his crossbow lowering slightly. If what you say is true, where is the other half of the stone? Drakon stepped forward, the barrier allowing him to pass now. He opened his shirt, revealing an identical pendant embedded in the skin over his heart. A jagged half that would complete the one in Anna's hand. I have carried it for 5 centuries, he said quietly, waiting for the day Katerina's blood would call to me again. A murmur ran through both groups. Anna looked at Gabriel, seeing the conflict in his eyes. Your father told you vampires were soulless monsters, incapable of love, she said. But what if he was wrong? What if centuries of fighting have blinded both sides to the possibility of something better? Gabriel's jaw tightened. My father watched your kind drain his wife, my mother, until nothing remained but an empty shell. I did not kill your mother, Drakon said. I refused to turn her against her will when Thomas brought her to me, dying of consumption. It was another, a rogue who preyed on the desperate, who promised Thomas what I would not. Lies, Gabriel whispered, but doubt had crept into his voice. The stone shows only truth, Anna said gently. Ask it to show you what happened. Gabriel hesitated, then nodded once, sharply. Anna held the pendant toward him, focusing her thoughts on his mother, on the truth he sought. The stone flared, and a new image appeared. A woman in a Victorian sickbed, Thomas Thorne weeping at her side, Drakon refusing his pleas with regret evident in his expression. Then, later, another vampire with cruel features offering what Drakon would not. The transformation begun, but performed incorrectly, resulting in a twisted, suffering creature that begged for true death. Gabriel staggered backward as if struck. Father never told me. He said you. He could not face his own role in her fate, Drakon said without judgment. It was easier to blame me than to accept that his desperation led him to trust the wrong vampire. The revelation seemed to ripple through the harvesters, many of whom exchanged uncertain glances. The damper guards, sensing the shift, lowered their weapons slightly. Anna replaced the pendant around her neck, its light softening to a steady glow. Neither side holds a monopoly on virtue or blame. Both have caused suffering. Both can choose a different path. Gabriel straightened, visibly struggling to process what he had learned. Even if what you say is true, generations of hatred cannot be undone in a single night. No, Anna agreed. But it can begin with a single choice. Will you be the one to continue your father's vendetta, or the one who begins a new legacy? The manor fell silent as Gabriel deliberated, his men watching him intently. Finally, he lowered his crossbow completely. I have hunted vampires since I was old enough to hold a stake, he said slowly. I have never questioned our purpose or their nature. To consider anything else feels like betraying my father's memory. Or honoring your mother's true wish, Anna suggested. Would she want endless bloodshed in her name? Something broke in Gabriel's expression, a hardness giving way to uncertainty. He turned to his men. Stand down. We will not attack tonight. The harvesters hesitated, then complied, lowering their weapons. The damper guards looked to Drakon, who nodded for them to do the same. This is not peace, Gabriel cautioned, looking between Anna and Drakon. But it is consideration. I must reflect on what I have seen. That is all we ask, Anna said. Gabriel gestured to his men, and they began to withdraw. At the entrance he paused, looking back. The bloodstone has chosen its keeper well, he said to Anna. I hope, for all our sakes, that your faith is justified. His gaze shifted to Drakon. If you harm her, no power will protect you from me. If I harm her, Drakon replied evenly, I will welcome your judgment. With that, Gabriel and the harvesters departed, leaving the manor in fragile silence. Drakon turned to Anna, awe and concern warring in his expression. What you did was either the bravest or most foolish act I have witnessed in 5 centuries. Anna swayed slightly, the adrenaline that had sustained her beginning to ebb. Perhaps both, she admitted. I just knew it was what I needed to do. The stone responded to your will, Drakon said, steadying her. It has never done that for anyone but Katerina. Does that mean the prophecy is true? Before Drakon could answer, Lilith approached, bowing to both of them. The council awaits, my king. They felt the stone's awakening. They will not be denied audience after tonight's events. Drakon sighed. Very well. Prepare the great hall. He turned to Anna. Are you strong enough to face my kind's version of politics? It may prove more challenging than harvesters. Anna straightened her shoulders, though exhaustion pulled at her. I have worked double shifts at the diner during finals week. I can handle vampire politics. The ghost of a smile touched Drakon's lips. I begin to see why the stone chose you. The great hall of Blackthorn Manor revealed the true extent of the mansion's magical nature. What had appeared from outside to be a large but conventional Victorian home now extended into a cavernous chamber that could not possibly fit within its exterior dimensions. Massive chandeliers hung from a vaulted ceiling painted with scenes of night skies from different eras. Columns of black marble lined the walls, between which hung portraits of vampires in the regalia of centuries past. At the far end stood 2 thrones on a raised dais, one occupied, one empty. Anna froze at the sight. You cannot be serious. The council expects ceremony, Drakon explained, leading her forward. Appearances matter greatly to my kind. As they approached, Anna became aware of figures emerging from shadows around the hall. Vampires of various ages and appearances, all watching her with predatory intensity. Some appeared almost human, while others displayed more obvious signs of their nature. Elongated fingers, eyes that reflected light like animals, skin. One stepped forward, a woman of Asian descent wearing a kimono that might have been fashionable centuries ago. Her movements were so fluid she seemed to float rather than walk. "King Drakon," she greeted, her voice musical yet cold. "The Council of 13 has assembled at your summons." "Lady Miyako," Drakon acknowledged. "I summoned no one. You felt the bloodstone awaken and came of your own accord." Lady Miyako's gaze shifted to Anna, her nostrils flaring slightly. "So this is Katarina's descendant. She smells ordinary." Anna bristled at the dismissive assessment. "And you smell like someone left perfume in a crypt for 300 years. Yet I was not planning to mention it." A shocked silence fell, broken by a deep, rumbling laugh from a massive vampire with a beard braided with gold beads. "The girl has spirit, Drakon. Perhaps the prophecy speaks true after all." Drakon's lips twitched with suppressed amusement. "Council members, I present Anna Zimmerman, bearer of the bloodstone and descendant of Katarina Zimarova." Anna felt rather than saw the other vampires moving closer, forming a circle around them. "What exactly is this council?" "The oldest vampires from the 13 original bloodlines," Drakon explained. "They govern our kind when not squabbling amongst themselves." "We do not squabble," Lady Miyako said stiffly. "We debate matters of existential importance." "For centuries," added the bearded vampire drily. "Some debates have lasted longer than most human civilizations." Drakon guided Anna toward the dais. "The council has assembled to witness the fulfillment of the prophecy, or to challenge it, depending on their individual agendas. Which brings us to the matter at hand," Lady Miyako interjected. "The girl bears the stone, yes, but has she completed the bond? Has she accepted her role as prophesied?" Anna looked between the vampires and Drakon. "What does completing the bond entail, exactly?" "A blood exchange," said a new voice. A tall, rail-thin vampire with calculating eyes. "The final joining of the two halves of the bloodstone, sealed by mutual consent and mutual feeding." "Feeding?" Anna's voice rose. "As in drinking each other's blood?" Lady Miyako smiled thinly. "Did you believe becoming vampire royalty would be a bloodless affair, girl?" "I never said I was becoming anything," Anna protested. "I stopped to fight. I showed your harvesters the truth. That does not mean I have agreed to whatever this is." The council members exchanged glances. The bearded vampire stepped forward. "The prophecy is clear. The one who bears the stone and offers life freely will unite the kinds. There is no mention of choice." "There is always choice," Drakon said sharply. "I will not bind anyone against their will, prophecy or no prophecy." Anna felt a rush of gratitude at his words, followed by confusion. Hours ago, her biggest concern had been making rent. Now she stood among ancient vampires discussing prophecies and blood bonds as if they were menu options. "May I speak?" she asked, surprising herself with her steadiness. The council fell silent, all eyes turning to her. "I understand that this stone," she touched the pendant, "holds great significance to your kind. I understand that some prophecy says I am meant to unite vampires and humans. But I am still trying to process the fact that vampires exist, let alone that I might be destined to become some sort of bridge between worlds." She turned to Drakon. "You have shown me respect by not forcing this bond upon me. I ask the same of your council. Give me time to understand what is being asked of me before demanding decisions that will change my life forever." Drakon regarded her with something like pride, wisdom as well as courage. The council would do well to heed her request. Lady Miyako's expression remained cold. "Time is a luxury we may not have. The stone's awakening will draw others besides harvesters. Ancient enemies, power-hungry rogues. Those who would use it to enslave both races rather than unite them. Then protect her while she decides," Drakon countered. Is that not our duty as the prophecy's custodians? A murmur ran through the assembled vampires. Finally, the bearded vampire spoke again. The king speaks truly. If the prophecy is to be fulfilled, it must be by choice, not coercion. We will grant the girl time, but she must remain under our protection until her decision is made. Anna opened her mouth to protest, but Drakon touched her arm gently. Consider what is being offered, Anna. Safety while you learn what this means. No commitment beyond that. She hesitated, weighing her options. Return to her apartment, pretend none of this had happened, and likely be hunted by those seeking the stone? Or stay, learn the truth of her heritage, and make an informed choice? I will stay, she decided aloud. But I have conditions. I need to contact my grandmother. Tell her I am safe. And I want to learn everything about vampires, about the stone, about this prophecy. No half-truths or manipulations. Lady Miyako raised an eyebrow. She presumes to set terms? She does, Anna said firmly. And she would appreciate not being spoken about as if she were not present. The bearded vampire laughed again. I like her, Drakon. Keep this one. He bowed to Anna. I am Vladimir of the Carpathian bloodline. Your terms are acceptable to me. One by one, the other council members nodded their assent, some more reluctantly than others. Lady Miyako was last, her bow so slight it barely qualified as acknowledgement. Then it is decided, Drakon declared. Anna Zimmerman will remain under my protection while she learns what the prophecy entails. No bond will be forced, no choice predetermined. The council members dispersed, melting back into shadows or simply vanishing. Soon only Drakon, Anna, and Lilith remained in the great hall. Well, Anna said, a touch of hysteria finally breaking through her composure. That was not how I expected my evening to end when I started my shift at the diner. Drakon's formal demeanor softened. You handled yourself admirably. Few mortals have faced the council and earned their respect. I do not think Lady Miyako respects me. Lady Miyako respects no one, not even me, Drakon assured her. It is her defining characteristic. Anna laughed despite herself, then sobered. What happens now? Now you rest, Drakon said gently. Dawn approaches, and much has happened this night. Lilith will show you to your chambers. And you, vampires must retreat from daylight, even ones as old as I. He hesitated. But I will be near should you need me. Anna nodded, suddenly aware of how exhausted she truly was. As Lilith led her from the hall, she glanced back at Drakon, who stood watching her with an expression both hopeful and guarded. Good night, Vampire King, she called softly. His smile, genuine and unguarded, transformed his face into something truly beautiful. Sleep well, Anna Zimmerman. Tomorrow your education begins. Anna woke to sunlight filtering through heavy velvet curtains. For a moment, she believed she had dreamed everything. Vampires, prophecies, ancient councils. Then she felt the weight of the pendant against her skin and knew it had all been real. The room Lilith had led her to was unlike any Anna had seen outside of historical documentaries. A four-poster bed draped in midnight blue, furniture crafted from dark wood and inlaid with silver, a fireplace large enough to stand in. Modern touches had been added discreetly, electrical outlets, a bathroom with contemporary fixtures, and a closet that, upon inspection, contained clothes in her size. Anna showered and dressed in jeans and a simple blouse from the provided wardrobe, then ventured from her room. The hallway outside was lined with portraits, men and women from different eras, all bearing a family resemblance she recognized from her own mirror. My ancestors, she murmured, pausing before a painting of a woman who could have been her twin, dressed in the fashion of the 1920s. The Zimmer bloodline has remained remarkably consistent in appearance, said Lilith, appearing silently beside her. Katerina's features passed down through generations with little dilution. Anna jumped at the damper's sudden presence. Do all of you move like that? It is unsettling. Lilith's amber eyes crinkled slightly at the corners, the closest thing to a smile Anna had seen from her. You will grow accustomed to it, Breakfast awaits in the solarium. The master instructed that you be well fed. Is he awake? Anna asked, unsure of the proper terminology. The king retreats during daylight hours, Lilith explained. Not from weakness. He is ancient enough to withstand the sun, but from habit and preference. He will join you after sunset. The solarium proved to be a glass-enclosed room filled with plants from around the world. A table had been set with an array of breakfast foods that made Anna's stomach growl embarrassingly. "This is for me?" she asked, overwhelmed by the spread. "The master was unsure of your preferences," Lilith said, as if this explained the feast before them. As Anna ate, Lilith remained nearby, watching her with that same unnerving focus. "You must have questions," the damper observed. Anna swallowed a bite of perfectly prepared omelet. "About 1,000,000. Starting with, how does all this," she gestured around them, "exist without anyone knowing? A vampire king, magical mansions, ancient prophecies." Lilith seated herself across from Anna. "Humans see what they expect to see. For centuries, my kind and vampires have lived alongside humanity, concealed by a combination of discretion, misdirection, and humanity's own disbelief. But in the age of social media and surveillance, how do you remain hidden?" "We adapt," Lilith said simply. "Vampires who cannot adapt do not survive long. The oldest, like Drakon, have mastered the art of existing just beyond human perception." Anna considered this. "And Dampiers? Where do you fit?" "We walk between worlds," Lilith replied. "Born of both vampire and human, we belong fully to neither. Many serve vampire courts as intermediaries, guards, or daylight servants. That sounds lonely." Something flickered in Lilith's eyes. Surprise, perhaps, at being seen so clearly. "It is our nature." Anna changed the subject. "Tell me about the prophecy. The real version, not the simplified one Drakon gave me." Lilith hesitated. "I am not certain the master would approve. I asked for complete honesty as my condition for staying," Anna reminded her. "That includes the prophecy that apparently involves me." After a moment's consideration, Lilith nodded. "Very well. The complete prophecy, as recorded in the Nightborn Chronicles, states, when the bloodstone awakens in the hands of Katarina's true descendant, who offers life freely without knowledge of its worth, the king of the Nightborn shall recognize his queen. Their blood bond will heal the ancient divide or sunder it beyond repair. Together they will face the Crimson Court's judgment, and their choice will determine the fate of both races for 1,000 years. Anna set down her fork. "The Crimson Court?" Drakon did not mention that. "It is the aspect of the prophecy most feared by vampires," Lilith admitted. "The Crimson Court is said to be the first vampires, those who existed before recorded history. They withdrew from the world millennia ago, leaving the 13 bloodlines to govern in their absence. Legend claims they will return only to judge whether vampires deserve to continue existing alongside humans. And my decision somehow triggers their return? The completed blood bond between you and Drakon would summon them," Lilith confirmed. "Your united choice would then determine their judgment." Anna pushed away her plate, appetite gone. "No pressure, then. Just the fate of multiple species resting on a decision I did not ask to make. Which is why Drakon did not tell you everything immediately," Lilith said, something like sympathy in her voice. "He believes you should choose based on your feelings for him, not from fear of consequences." "My feelings for him?" Anna repeated incredulously. "I met him 2 days ago." Lilith's expression remained impassive. "Time moves differently for immortals, and the bond between Bloodstone Bearer and King has been forming since your birth, whether you were conscious of it or not." Anna touched the pendant, feeling its familiar warmth. "The dreams. Yes, the stone has been preparing you, showing you glimpses of what could be. Does Drakon feel this bond too?" Anna asked, unsure why the question seemed important. "He has carried his half of the stone for 5 centuries," Lilith replied. "It has shaped his entire existence since Katarina. But he will not speak of it directly. You must ask him yourself." Anna nodded, processing this new information. I want to call my grandmother. She needs to know I am safe. Lilith produced a phone from within her clothing. You may use this. It cannot be traced. Anna took it gratefully and dialed the familiar number. After 2 rings, her grandmother's voice came through, strong despite her 87 years. Hello, Grandma. It is Anna. Anna. Relief flooded the older woman's voice. Where are you? I felt the stone awaken last night. Anna blinked in surprise. You felt it? You know about the stone? Of course I know, her grandmother replied, a smile evident in her tone. I gave it to you, did I not? I have been waiting for this day since you were born. Why did you never tell me? Anna asked, hurt mingling with confusion. The stone chooses when to reveal its purpose, her grandmother said. Has he found you then? Drakon. Anna nearly dropped the phone. You know about Drakon? Every keeper of the stone knows the name of the one who waits for us, her grandmother explained. Though only the true bearer, the one from the prophecy, would actually meet him. So you knew I was part of some vampire prophecy and just never mentioned it? Her grandmother's laugh was warm and familiar. Would you have believed me if I had told you vampires existed and you were destined to meet their king? Or would you have worried about my mental faculties? Anna had to admit she had a point. I am staying at his manor for now, learning about everything. Good, her grandmother said approvingly. Trust your heart, Anna. It will guide you true, as it has guided the women of our family for generations. The prophecy says I have to make some kind of choice, Anna said hesitantly. That both races will be judged based on what I decide. All choices of consequence feel overwhelming at first, her grandmother counseled. But you will know what to do when the time comes. The stone would not have awakened for you if you were not ready. They spoke for a few minutes more, Anna reassuring her grandmother that she was safe and would visit soon. When they hung up, Anna handed the phone back to Lilith, who had tactfully moved away during the conversation. My grandmother knew, Anna said, still processing the revelation. She knew about vampires, about Drakon, about the prophecy. All my life, she has been preparing me without my knowledge. Lilith nodded. Each keeper passes knowledge to the next generation. But only you were shown visions by the stone itself. Anna stood, suddenly restless. I want to explore, to learn more before Drakon awakens. Of course, Lilith agreed. I will show you the manor's secrets. The day passed in a blur of discovery. Blackthorn Manor contained wonders that defied Anna's understanding of reality. Libraries with books thousands of years old. Rooms that shifted their dimensions depending on who entered. Gardens where plants from extinct species still thrived. Lilith proved a knowledgeable guide, answering Anna's questions with increasing openness as the day progressed. By the time the sun began to set, Anna had gained a clearer picture of vampire society. Its hierarchies, its factions, its customs. Drakon stirs, Lilith announced as the last ray of sunlight faded from the horizon. He will join you in the eastern drawing room. Anna nodded, suddenly nervous. The weight of all she had learned pressed upon her. The full prophecy, the Crimson Court, her grandmother's casual acceptance of it all. How would she face Drakon with this knowledge? The eastern drawing room was smaller than the great hall, but no less impressive. A fire burned in a marble fireplace, casting dancing shadows across velvet furnishings and walls lined with books and artifacts from different eras. Anna was examining a crystal sphere that seemed to contain a miniature galaxy when she felt his presence. Turning, she found Drakon in the doorway, watching her with an intensity that made her breath catch. He had changed into simpler clothing, black trousers and a white shirt open at the throat, but nothing could diminish the aura of power that surrounded him. In the firelight, he looked more human, yet paradoxically more otherworldly. You slept well? He inquired, entering the room with that fluid grace that marked his kind. As well as could be expected after learning I am part of an ancient vampire prophecy, Anna replied, aiming for lightness but not quite achieving it. Drakon smiled faintly. Fair enough. He gestured to the sphere she had been examining. That contains a fragment of the night sky as it appeared when I was born. A gift from a sorcerer I once aided. Sorcerers exist too? Anna asked, momentarily distracted. Many things exist beyond human perception, Drakon said, moving closer. You are handling it all remarkably well. Anna set down the sphere carefully. Lilith told me the complete prophecy today. Drakon stilled, his expression becoming guarded. I see. The Crimson Court, Anna continued. The judgment. The 1,000 years of consequences. Were you planning to mention those parts? Eventually, he admitted. When you had time to adjust to the more immediate aspects of our situation. You mean when I had time to develop these feelings for you that Lilith mentioned? A flash of irritation crossed his features. My seneschal has been unusually forthcoming. I asked for honesty, Anna reminded him. So let me ask you directly. Do you feel this bond that supposedly exists between us? Drakon's gaze became distant, focused on something beyond the room's confines. From the moment Katerina placed her half of the stone in my keeping, I have felt it. A connection stretching across time, guiding me toward her bloodline. When I found you in that diner, offering food to a stranger, the bond awoke fully. His eyes refocused on her face. It is like finding a part of myself I never knew was missing. The raw honesty in his voice made Anna shiver. And you believe I am meant to be your queen? To rule vampires at your side? I believe you are meant to make a choice, Drakon corrected gently. Whether that choice leads you to my side or away from it must be your decision alone. Anna touched the pendant, finding comfort in its familiar warmth. What if I make the wrong choice? What if this Crimson Court judges us unworthy? Then vampire kind faces extinction, Drakon said simply, and humanity loses what protection we provide against darker things. Darker than vampires? Drakon's smile held no humor. We are predators, yes, but we maintain balance. There are older hungers in the world, Anna. Ancient appetites that would consume rather than coexist. Anna moved to the window, looking out at the night-shrouded grounds of the manor. It is too much, she whispered. Too much responsibility for someone who, 3 days ago, was just trying to make ends meet. She felt rather than heard Drakon approach, his presence a tangible thing behind her. I will not pretend the burden is light, he said softly. But you do not bear it alone. Whatever you decide, I stand with you. Anna turned to face him, struck again by the contradiction he presented. Powerful yet vulnerable, ancient yet capable of change, monster yet something far more complex. Show me, she said suddenly. Drakon's brow furrowed. Show you what? Who you really are. Not the king, not the diplomat who charmed the council or faced down harvesters. Show me the vampire beneath. Something flared in Drakon's eyes. Hunger, fear, hope. A complex amalgamation of emotions too tangled to name. Are you certain? Most humans find our true nature disturbing. I cannot make an informed choice without seeing all of you, Anna insisted. No more shields, Drakon. Not between us. For a moment he seemed to struggle with himself. Then, with a barely perceptible nod, he closed his eyes. The transformation was subtle yet profound. His skin paled further until it was nearly translucent, blue veins visible beneath. His fingers lengthened slightly, nails hardening into claw-like points. When he opened his eyes, they had darkened to bottomless black pools, reflecting the firelight like obsidian mirrors. But it was his teeth that changed most dramatically. Not just the extended canines of fiction, but a predator's mouth, designed for tearing and consuming. Anna fought the instinctive urge to recoil, forcing herself to really see him. Beyond the monstrous aspects, Drakon's face remained the same intelligence, the same capacity for gentleness she had glimpsed before. This is what I am, he said, his voice deeper, resonating on a frequency that made the air vibrate. What I have been for 15 centuries. Gathering her courage, Anna stepped closer, reaching up to touch his face. His skin was cool but not cold, smooth as marble but yielding to her touch. Drakon went utterly still, as if afraid the slightest movement would shatter the moment. "Thank you," she said softly, "for trusting me with this." Something like wonder crossed his inhuman features. "You are not afraid?" "I am," Anna admitted. "But fear does not have to be the end of understanding. It can be the beginning." Slowly, like ice melting in spring, Drakon's features returned to their more human appearance. The transformation complete, he captured her hand before she could withdraw it, pressing it more firmly to his cheek. "In 5 centuries," he whispered, "no one has touched me with gentleness after seeing my true nature." The simple statement, delivered without self-pity, pierced Anna's heart. How lonely must his existence have been, carrying the burden of prophecy and kingship while concealing his true self from all but enemies. "I think," Anna said slowly, "I am beginning to understand what the prophecy truly asks of us." "Which is?" Drakon prompted. "To see beyond appearances, to recognize worth in what others fear." She smiled faintly, like a waitress seeing a hungry stranger rather than a monster, or a vampire king seeing a queen in a woman with nothing to offer but compassion. Drakon's expression softened. "Perhaps that is wisdom enough to satisfy even the Crimson Court." The moment stretched between them, fraught with unspoken possibilities. Then a discreet cough from the doorway broke the spell. Lilith stood there, her expression grave. "Forgive the interruption, Master, but we have received word. The harvesters have returned, with allies." Drakon's demeanor shifted instantly from intimate to regal. "How many?" 30 at least," Lilith reported. "Led by Gabriel Thorn, but accompanied by representatives from the Order of St. Michael and hunters from 3 continents. Anna felt cold dread pool in her stomach. "They are not here to talk this time, are they?" "No," Drakon confirmed grimly. "It seems Gabriel has chosen his path after all." "What do we do?" Anna asked. Drakon exchanged a look with Lilith, some silent communication passing between them. "We have defenses," he said finally, "and allies of our own who will answer my call. But a confrontation of this magnitude risks exposing our kind to the human world at large." "There must be another way," Anna insisted. "A way to show them what I saw, the truth about vampires, about the prophecy." "They do not seek truth," Drakon countered. "They seek the bloodstone, your pendant, and my destruction. The old hatreds run too deep to be overcome by reason alone." Anna clutched the pendant, feeling its warmth intensify. What if we completed the bond?" Both Drakon and Lilith stared at her in shock. "Anna," Drakon said carefully, "you do not know what you are suggesting. The blood bond is irreversible. It would tie your life force to mine, your fate to vampire kind forever. And it would summon the Crimson Court," Lilith added, "bringing judgment upon us all." "Exactly," Anna said, conviction growing as she spoke. "If the Crimson Court is as powerful as you say, their arrival would surely halt the attack. And if the prophecy is true, if I am meant to help decide the fate of both races, then perhaps facing judgment is better than endless war." Drakon shook his head. "It is too dangerous, too untested. No one knows what form the Crimson Court's judgment might take." "Do we have another choice?" Anna challenged. "Wait for the harvesters to attack, for people to die on both sides, for the conflict to spread beyond this manor until it cannot be contained." Lilith looked to Drakon, her expression troubled. "She makes a valid point, Master. Our defenses may hold, but at what cost?" Drakon paced the room, his movements betraying agitation. "The blood bond is sacred, Anna. It should be formed from choice, not desperation." "Is it desperation to choose peace over war?" Anna asked quietly. "To trust that whatever connected Katerina to you, whatever has drawn me to you across centuries, has purpose beyond mere prophecy?" Drakon stopped pacing, studying her face intently. "You would tie yourself to me, to my kind, based on 3 days' acquaintance?" "I would tie myself to the truth I have seen," Anna corrected. "To the vampire who saved me from attackers, who showed me his true self when asked, who offered me choice when others would have demanded obedience." "And if the judgment goes against us?" Anna lifted her chin. Then we face it together. The moment hung between them, heavy with potential. Then Drakon turned to Lilith. How long do we have? An hour at most, the damper replied. They are gathering at the edge of the property, testing the magical boundaries. Drakon nodded once, decision made. Prepare the binding chamber. Alert the council, they should witness this. Lilith bowed and departed swiftly. Alone again, Drakon approached Anna, taking her hands in his. Are you certain, Anna Zimmerman? Truly certain? Once begun, this cannot be undone. Anna met his gaze steadily, feeling the pendant pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. I am certain, she said, surprised by the calm truth of it. Whatever comes, we face it together. Drakon lifted her hands to his lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles that sent warmth cascading through her veins. Then let us rewrite destiny, my queen. The binding chamber lay deep beneath Blackthorn Manor, accessible only by a spiral staircase that descended into earth so ancient it seemed to breathe. Walls of natural stone gave way to carved symbols that glowed with faint blue light, illuminating the path. Anna descended beside Drakon, her hand in his, the pendant growing warmer with each step. Behind them followed members of the council, summoned by some means Anna did not understand, their faces solemn as they processed in ceremonial silence. The chamber predates the manor by millennia, Drakon explained softly. It was built by the Crimson Court themselves, one of the few places where the veil between worlds thins enough for them to be summoned. Have you been here before? Anna asked, equally quiet. Once, he admitted, when Katerina gave me her half of the stone. We performed a partial binding then, enough to connect the halves across time and blood, but not the full joining that would summon judgment. They reached the bottom of the stairs, entering a perfectly circular chamber whose ceiling opened to the night sky, though Anna knew they must be far underground. At the center stood an altar of black stone veined with silver, its surface polished to mirror brightness. Around the chamber's perimeter burned 13 torches in sconces shaped like different phases of the moon. As the council members entered, each moved to stand before a torch, their shadows stretching toward the altar. Lilith awaited them, standing beside the altar with a silver chalice and dagger laid out upon its surface. She wore ceremonial robes of midnight blue, embroidered with silver symbols that matched those on the walls. Everything is prepared, she announced. The boundaries hold for now, but the harvesters grow bolder. They have brought weapons blessed by Vatican priests, powerful enough to breach our defenses given time. Drakon nodded grimly. Then we shall be swift. He turned to Anna. Are you ready? Anna took a deep breath, looking around at the ancient chamber, the solemn faces of the council, the ceremonial implements that would bind her to a world she had not known existed days ago. What do I need to do? She asked, proud that her voice remained steady. Stand before the altar, Lilith instructed. The ritual is simple but powerful. You will each share blood freely given, while the halves of the stone are joined. Anna moved to one side of the altar, Drakon to the other. Above them, through the impossible opening to the night sky, stars wheeled in patterns unfamiliar to Anna's eyes. Lilith raised her hands. We gather to witness the fulfillment of prophecy, she intoned, her voice resonating throughout the chamber. The joining of the Bloodstone's keeper with the king of the Nightborn, as foretold in the ancient texts. The council members responded as one. We witness. Anna Zimmerman, descendant of Katerina, do you come freely to this binding? Lilith asked. I do, Anna replied, the words feeling right despite the strangeness of the situation. Drakon Volkov, king of the Nightborn, do you come freely to this binding? I do, Drakon answered, his eyes never leaving Anna's face. Lilith lifted the silver dagger. The blood offering must be freely given with clear intent. Speak your purpose as the offering is made. She handed the dagger to Anna first. Anna accepted it, the metal cool against her palm. With a steadying breath, she drew the blade across her opposite palm, deep enough to draw blood but not to seriously wound. As crimson droplets fell into the waiting chalice, she spoke. I offer my blood freely, with the intent to bridge what has been divided, to see truth where others see only darkness, to fulfill the promise made by my ancestor. Lilith nodded and took the dagger, cleaning it with a cloth before handing it to Drakon. He made his cut without hesitation, his blood joining hers in the chalice. I offer my blood freely, he said, his voice deepening with power, with the intent to honor what was begun 5 centuries ago, to protect what is precious, to embrace judgment, whatever form it takes. Lilith took the chalice and held it up. Blood of human, blood of vampire, joined in common purpose. May it bind what was sundered, heal what was broken, illuminate what was hidden. She returned the chalice to the altar and turned to Anna, the stone keeper. With trembling fingers, Anna removed the pendant from around her neck. As it left her skin, it flared with brilliant crimson light, bathing the chamber in blood-red radiance. Now you, my king, Lilith directed. Drakon opened his shirt, revealing the matching half of the stone embedded in his chest. With a swift, practiced motion, he extracted it, showing no pain despite the momentary welling of blood from the cavity it left. Place the halves upon the altar, Lilith instructed. Anna and Drakon obeyed, laying their portions of the stone side by side on the polished black surface. The halves immediately began to move, drawn to each other like magnets, until they connected with a sound like crystal struck by lightning. The completed bloodstone pulsed with light, sending waves of crimson energy throughout the chamber. The walls seemed to fade, revealing vistas of stars and void beyond. Now drink, Lilith commanded, offering the chalice first to Anna. Complete what was begun. Anna took the chalice, the metal warm from the combined blood within. Meeting Drakon's gaze across the altar, she raised it to her lips and drank. The taste was copper and fire, earth and starlight, flavors that had no name in human language. Heat exploded through her body, racing along her veins until her skin felt too small to contain it. She passed the chalice to Drakon, who drank deeply, his eyes never leaving hers. As he lowered the cup, his features transformed, not to the predatory visage she had seen before, but to something more primal, more magnificent. Power radiated from him in visible waves, his skin luminous with inner light. Lilith placed the reunited bloodstone in the empty chalice, where it continued to pulse in rhythm with Anna's heartbeat. The binding is complete, she announced. The summoning begins. The chamber began to vibrate, stones grinding against stones as the very air seemed to thicken. Anna felt lightheaded, her perception expanding beyond normal limits. She could feel Drakon's presence in her mind. Not thoughts, but emotions, impressions, the weight of centuries of memory just beyond her reach. Anna, he said, her name sounding different in his transformed voice. Come to me. She moved around the altar to stand beside him, drawn by a pull stronger than gravity. When he took her hand, energy surged between them, creating a circuit of light and power. The Crimson Court approaches, Lilith warned, backing away from the altar. They crossed the veil. The council members fell to their knees, heads bowed. Above them, the night sky vanished, replaced by a swirling vortex of crimson and black. The air became charged with electricity, raising the hair on Anna's arms and neck. Whatever happens, Drakon murmured, know that you have already changed me beyond reckoning. Before Anna could respond, the vortex descended, touching the reunited bloodstone in the chalice. Light exploded outward, temporarily blinding her. When her vision cleared, 3 figures stood before the altar. They appeared both ancient and ageless, their forms shifting between human and other, as if reality struggled to contain them. One male, one female, one neither and both. They regarded Anna and Drakon with eyes that held the depth of cosmic abysses. The summoning is answered. The female spoke, her voice simultaneously in Anna's ears and mind. The Crimson Court stands in judgment. 5 centuries we have waited, said the male, for the prophecy's fulfillment. Now we shall determine, said the third, whether this experiment continues or ends. Drakon bowed deeply, pulling Anna with him. Honored ones, We present ourselves for judgment as the prophecy foretold. The female's gaze fixed on Anna. Human child, do you understand what you have done this night? Anna straightened, meeting those ancient eyes with what courage she could muster. I have joined my blood and fate with Drakon's, to fulfill a promise made by my ancestor and to prevent bloodshed between our races. Noble intentions, the male observed, but intentions alone are insufficient for judgment. We must see deeper. Without warning, all three members of the Crimson Court extended their hands. Anna felt their consciousness invade her mind. Not painfully, but with inexorable force, sifting through her memories, her fears, her hopes, her understanding of what had transpired since Drakon entered the diner. Beside her, Drakon stiffened, presumably experiencing the same invasion. The process seemed to last both seconds and eternity before the court withdrew. We have seen, they announced in unison. We have judged. The chamber fell utterly silent, every being within it suspended in anticipation. For 15,000 years, the female said, we have watched vampire kind struggle between predation and coexistence. We created you to be shepherds of humanity, guardians against older evils, not merely hunters of human prey. Some have honored this purpose, the male continued. Others have corrupted it, viewing humans as cattle rather than kindred beings on different paths. The experiment stands at a crossroads, the third added. Continue or end. Evolve or perish. Anna held her breath, Drakon's hand tight around hers. The female looked directly at them. In you we see possibility, a genuine bond formed not from prophecy alone, but from mutual recognition, from seeing worth beyond surface, from choosing compassion when violence was easier. Therefore, the male proclaimed, our judgment is thus. Vampire kind may continue to exist alongside humanity, but under new covenant. This covenant shall be embodied in your union, the third elaborated. A true partnership of equals, neither dominant nor subservient, both essential to balance. The bloodstone shall remain whole, the female decreed, a symbol of this covenant and a channel for its power. Through it, you shall govern vampire kind with wisdom born of both mortal and immortal understanding. And what of the harvesters? Drakon asked. They gather even now to destroy us. They too shall be judged, the male replied. Their hatred blinds them to larger truths, to greater threats that would consume all beings regardless of nature. The third member raised a hand, and the vortex above them widened. Bring them forth. A violent wind tore through the chamber, and suddenly Gabriel Thorne stood before them, surrounded by a dozen armed harvesters. They appeared disoriented, weapons half-raised, expressions bewildered. What sorcery is this? Gabriel demanded, recovering first. His gaze fell on Anna and Drakon, then on the Crimson Court, and his face paled. What have you done? They have fulfilled prophecy, the female said, her voice causing the harvesters to flinch as if struck. They have summoned judgment, upon themselves and upon you. Gabriel's hand tightened on his weapon. We answer to God, not to creatures of darkness. And yet, the male countered, you kill in his name without mercy or discernment. You hunt those who have done no harm alongside those who deserve justice. You perpetuate hatred rather than understanding. They are vampires, Gabriel insisted. Predators, monsters. As are you, the third observed. A different kind of predator, feeding on fear and righteousness rather than blood. The female turned to Anna. Speak, human child, you who have seen both sides. What would you have us do with these who sought your destruction? Anna stepped forward, feeling Drakon's silent support through their bond. They acted from belief, however misguided, from fear, however cultivated by generations of hatred. I would have them see the truth as I have seen it. Judge them by their choices after understanding, not before. Gabriel stared at her in disbelief. You defend us? After we hunted you. I offer you the same chance I was given, Anna replied evenly. To see beyond what you have been taught. To choose based on truth, not fear. The Crimson Court conferred silently, their forms shifting and blending. Finally, they spoke as one. "It is decided. The harvesters shall be shown truth, the origin of vampires, their purpose, the greater evils they have held at bay. They shall witness the joining of human and vampire in covenant. Then they shall choose to continue their crusade of destruction, or to redirect their skills toward common enemies of all living beings." Before Gabriel could protest, the Crimson Court raised their hands. The chamber dissolved around them, replaced by visions of history unfolding, the creation of vampires as guardians against cosmic horrors that made Anna's mind recoil. Centuries of vampires standing as silent sentinels against incursions from realms beyond human comprehension. The corruption of some vampire lines into true predators. The birth of the Harvester Orders as necessary balance. And finally, the prophecy of reunification through love and choice rather than dominance or subjugation. When the visions ended, returning them to the chamber, the harvesters stood silent, many weeping or trembling. Gabriel looked broken, his certainty shattered. "All this time, we never knew. We were told only that they were evil, soulless." "Many are," Drakon acknowledged. "As many humans are cruel or destructive. But not all. Never all." The Crimson Court turned to the assembled vampires. "And those who refuse this covenant?" one of the council members dared to ask. "They shall fade," the third member said simply. "The power that sustains vampire kind flows through the covenant. Those who reject it will find their immortality impermanent." The female approached Anna and Drakon, placing a hand over their joined ones. "You are the bridge, the first of a new order. What began with Katerina and her compassion for a wounded king culminates in you. Honor this trust." "We will," Drakon promised, speaking for both of them. The male addressed Gabriel. "And you, Harvester, what do you choose? Continued hatred or new purpose?" Gabriel looked at his men, then at Anna and Drakon, and finally at the weapons in their hands. Slowly, deliberately, he lowered his. "If what we have seen is true, then our purpose has been incomplete. We were meant to cull the predators, not exterminate an entire race." The third member nodded. "A wise beginning." The Crimson Court stepped back, their forms beginning to fade. "Our judgment is complete, the covenant established. We return to our watch but not to sleep. What begins this night shall echo through 1,000 years." With a final surge of crimson light, they vanished, leaving the chamber in silence broken only by the soft pulsing of the reunited bloodstone. Drakon turned to Anna, his expression one of wonder and gratitude. "It seems, my queen, that we have rewritten destiny after all." Anna smiled, feeling the bond between them strengthen with each heartbeat. "No, we fulfilled it, just not in the way anyone expected." Gabriel approached cautiously, his men hanging back. "What happens now?" "Now," Drakon said, "we begin the work of true coexistence. Not hiding, not hunting, but living alongside one another with purpose." "It will not be easy," Anna added. "Centuries of hatred cannot be undone in a night, even with divine judgment." "But it can begin tonight," Lilith suggested, coming forward to take the chalice containing the bloodstone. With acknowledgement of what has changed. Outside, a new sound reached them. Not the approach of battle, but a gathering. Through their bond, Anna felt Drakon's surprise. "The vampire clans," he murmured. "All of them." They felt the covenant form. "And the harvester chapters," Gabriel added, touching a device at his ear. "They report a cessation of hostility, a compulsion toward truce. The covenant's influence spreads," Lilith explained, "not controlling minds, but opening them to possibility." Drakon looked at Anna, a question in his eyes. She nodded, understanding without words. "Let us meet them together," she suggested. "Show them what partnership looks like." Hand in hand, they led the procession from the chamber, up the winding stairs, through the manor, and out onto its grounds. There, an extraordinary sight greeted them. Hundreds of vampires and humans gathered in uneasy proximity, weapons lowered but not discarded, ancient enemies regarding each other with caution rather than immediate hostility. As Anna and Drakon emerged, the bloodstone glowing between them, a hush fell over the assembly. "The covenant is formed," Drakon announced, his voice carrying to every ear. "The judgment rendered. A new era begins, not of predator and prey, but of guardians united against common threats." Murmurs ran through the crowd: disbelief, hope, resistance, acceptance. A cacophony of reactions to centuries of certainty overturned in a single night. Anna stepped forward. "I was a waitress who gave food to a stranger 3 days ago," she said, her ordinary beginning drawing attention by its very simplicity. "I did not know he was a vampire king. I did not know I carried an ancient stone of power. I did not know a prophecy awaited fulfillment." She looked around at the gathered faces, vampire and human alike. "But I learned that what we believe about others, the stories we tell ourselves about monsters and heroes, often blinds us to the truth. That compassion can bridge divides that force cannot. That seeing worth in what others fear can change destiny itself." Drakon moved to stand beside her. "For centuries, I believed the prophecy meant finding a queen to rule at my side. I did not understand that it meant finding an equal to stand beside me, to show me what I had forgotten about humanity's value beyond sustenance." He raised their joined hands. "The Crimson Court has judged both races worthy of continuation, not as separate entities fighting for dominance, but as complementary forces maintaining balance. The covenant we have formed will strengthen those who embrace this truth and weaken those who reject it." Gabriel stepped forward, addressing his fellow harvesters. "We have been shown visions of truth tonight, of the origin of vampires as guardians against greater evils, of our own purpose as balance to corrupted lines. I cannot unsee what I have witnessed. I cannot unhear the judgment rendered. I choose to redirect our skills toward true threats, not indiscriminate destruction." Not all the harvesters nodded agreement, but enough did to suggest the beginning of change. From among the vampires, Lady Miyako emerged, her ancient eyes assessing Anna with new respect. "The Council acknowledges the covenant and the authority it grants to the Bloodstone's keepers. We pledge our support to this new order, with the understanding that wisdom must guide power, not ambition." Other council members joined her, offering formal acknowledgement of what had transpired. As dawn approached, the gathering dispersed, not in complete harmony, but in tentative truce. Many questions remained, many adjustments would be needed, but the foundation had been laid for something new. Anna and Drakon watched them go, standing at the entrance to Blackthorn Manor as the sky lightened in the east. "I should fear the sunrise," Anna mused. "But I do not." Drakon smiled. "The blood bond protects you from such concerns. You remain human but enhanced, longer-lived, stronger, connected to me through the stone's magic. And you? Has it changed you as well?" His expression grew thoughtful. "I feel more. The numbness of centuries has receded. I experience emotions with human intensity again, yet retain vampire strength and perception." He touched the place over his heart where the bloodstone's half had rested for so long. "The balance is extraordinary." "So what happens now?" Anna asked, echoing Gabriel's earlier question. "I have a grandmother who needs me, a nursing degree half completed, a life I was building. And now you have another life joined to yours," Drakon acknowledged. "But the covenant does not require you to abandon your human existence, Anna. Indeed, maintaining your connection to humanity is essential to our purpose." "Our purpose?" Anna raised an eyebrow. "You make it sound like a job description." Drakon laughed, the sound startlingly human and joyful. "Perhaps it is. Vampire queen and human liaison. Must have experience with prophecy fulfillment and cosmic judgment. Ability to see beyond appearances required." Anna laughed with him, the bond between them pulsing with shared amusement. "I did give excellent customer service at the diner." "The best?" Drakon agreed, pulling her gently into his arms. "You gave food to a starving stranger. You offered compassion when others would have shown fear. You changed the course of 2 races' destiny with a simple act of kindness." Anna leaned into his embrace, feeling the bloodstone warm between them. And in return, I found something I did not know I was seeking. As did I, Drakon murmured against her hair. After 5 centuries of searching, as the first ray of sunlight crested the horizon, they stood together, Vampire King and Human Queen, bound by blood and choice and covenant. The bloodstone pulsed between them, a tangible symbol of the bridge they had become. Not an ending, but a beginning of understanding, of balance, of 1,000 years of possibility stretching before them like the dawn.